AI tools are getting crazy good, but can they actually replace 3D modeling for CNC projects? In this video, I'm testing out 3 different AI tools head-to-head, including Carveco's brand new built-in AI feature, plus 2 others that work with any CNC software that supports STL files like VCarve, Aspire, or even 3D printers. I'll be using the same photo in all 3 tools so we can see what one does better and where they fall short. And while AI is getting impressive, I'll also share when I still prefer to 3D model from scratch in Aspire and why that's not going away anytime soon. I've got links, coupon codes, and free resources in the description to help you test these tools yourself, including my ultimate AI guide for CNC and my top 100 AI prompt ideas for CNC to save you hours of trial and error. Before we get into each tool, let me show you the final results, the 3D models that were generated using the exact same photo. So here they are side by side, 3 different ones from 3 different software. Now I imported all of these into Aspire, and here you can see the original picture. This is from my wedding, and here are the 3 results. So you can determine which one you like the best, and later in this video I'll reveal which one outputted each one of these, so you can determine which one you think works best for whatever you're using it for. So take a good look at these 3. Can you guess which one is which? We'll review the answer later, but first let's break down how each one works. Hey, I want to pop in here quick to give you an update. After I filmed this AI video, Vectric actually made an announcement releasing their brand new AI tool for Vectric. And as you can see, this is their brand new tool. They did give me beta access to that. They announced this in their 2025 Vectric online user group meeting. So if you want to learn more about that, you can check out their user group meeting. But as you can see, this is a brand new AI tool that Vectric has introduced. And in this video, I will not be covering this tool because it's brand new in beta right now. However, I will be making a brand new video including this tool in a future video, so be sure to subscribe to my channel to be notified when that video comes out. But I did want to let you know that this is coming out and I am testing it now personally, just so I have a lot of experience with it when it comes time to make a video on it. And this tool is going to be very similar to the tools I'm going to show you in this video. However, this tool also has some added bonus things that I'm definitely going to be showing you in the future video. Just keep this in the back of your mind that Vectric is coming out with an AI tool very soon. I believe by the end of December 2025 it should be released. But before that, we'll cover the tools we talk about in this video, and then, like I said, I'll make a separate video on this. So let's get back to the video. So first up, let's talk about the newest addition in the AI world in CNC, and that is Carveco's built-in AI tool. This one's interesting because it's directly integrated into Carveco software, which means you don't need any extra software or STL imports. Just drop your image or text prompt in and you're ready to go. On the surface, it's super easy to use and very fast, and for users already in the Carveco ecosystem, it's a nice built-in feature. The catch though, you'll need to switch to Carveco if you're not already using it, and it's a subscription-based model, which is a shift if you're used to Vectric's Pay 1 setup. And of course, that also means learning in a whole new software interface if you're currently using VCarve or Aspire. So it may not be worth the switch for just this one feature, depending on your workflow. Let me show you how it works in action using the same wedding photo from earlier, and then you can determine what you like and don't like about it. So here we are in Carveco's software. This is their Maker Plus edition, and you'll see they have 2 different options here, and that is text to relief or image to relief. We're gonna look at the image to relief first. We'll go and check out the text relief later. Both of these features are available in all the software that I'm going to be showing you today. So let's take a look at generate with image. And when you click on that, that's going to take you to this window where you can upload an image and then it will turn it into a 3D model. So you can either drag and drop a file here or click browse to find it. I am going to click on that and open up this wedding photo and then click open, and you'll see it uploads the image right away, and you'll see it says generate relief, and then it's showing 5 credits it costs. We're going to talk more about credits later in this video, but just keep that in mind as we're looking through these on the video. You're going to see big differences in between the credit systems. So let's click generate relief, and when you do that, it takes a few seconds, and then it will generate something on the side here as a 3D model from the image. And something happened here where it says it failed. I'm not sure why that happened. Let's click try again, see if it works. There we go, second time it worked. And you can see the output on the side here. Now with this software, you also have the ability to change some things. So you have depth, detail, and zero plane. That gives you a little bit of flexibility in adjusting what you want on the side here. But basically you can see from an image, it turned it into a relief 3D model. And then from here, if you want to adjust how deep the model goes there, you can. You can adjust the amount of detail. So you can get a lot of detail or a little or somewhere in between. Every image is going to be a little bit different, so your results may vary on that. And then there's a zero plane. So in the background, you can see if you want to get rid of that background and make it more flat, you can do that and adjust the depth there as well. And as you can see, not too bad looking. And that's about all of the flexibility you have for adjusting these settings. And then up at the top here, you can look at different views and so forth. And then once you're happy with this, you can either save it to your clip art library within Carveco, or you can open it in a new model. So if I click on that, and you can set up your project, click OK. And now you can see we have this inside of the software here. This is now a 3D relief model that we can use to go further with making toolpaths or doing anything else we want to do with it, or even export it to a different software. As you can see, I'm not as impressed with the detail in the face on these ones. It's okay, but overall, I'm pretty happy with the level of detail in the fabric of the clothes. But as you can see, some results of this I was not as impressed with. So that is our first example there from Carveco. This is their brand new tool, so it may get better, but overall, not too bad. It's very fast and easy to use, but in my experience, the detail isn't quite as refined as we'll see from the tools coming up next. Still, it's a solid tool, and if you're curious to try it out for yourself, I got a discount link in the description to help you save a bit on the Carveco route. Next up, let's look at a software called SculptOK. This tool has been gaining attention lately, especially after Vectric featured it in one of their own YouTube videos recently. If you want to check that one out, you can do that on their channel. But SculptOK is a web-based platform, which means there's nothing to download. You just log in and start creating models straight from your browser. That's really handy if you switch between computers or work in different locations, but just keep in mind it does require an internet connection to log into their website. And I've been testing this one myself. It works pretty well. The interface is very simple, and it's a nice option if you're looking for a fast way to turn images into 3D relief models without a steep learning curve. Let's run the same wedding photo through SculptOK so you can see how it handles compared to Carveco. So here we are in SculptOK's website. You could either log in and sign up, or they also have a free trial that you can try out. We also will be looking at pricing later in this video to compare the pricing from all the tools. But if I log into my demo account that I have for creating this, if we go to the tools here, they have several different AI tools. For this one, for this video, we're going to be focusing on the AI depth map, which will generate the 3D models. And if we upload an image with this plus sign here, and if I try to use the same photo I used in Carveco and click open, you see I get an error up here. Please upload files no larger than 10 megabytes. So that is a little bit of a limitation with SculptOK. The file size has to be smaller than that. And if you try to upload a larger image, it's gonna upload a larger image, it's gonna try to load this, but if you just wait here, it won't do anything. So what I find I had to do is use a separate program to compress the image, and then now I have a compressed file that I can open, and that one will load. So that's a little bit of annoyance with this software that you'll have to keep in mind, and you may lose some image quality when you compress the image. But this compressed one did work. So with that uploaded, we have some more features down here. Some things you have to do is the type of image, choose which type of image you're starting with. In this case, since it's an image of two people, I will do the portrait image. And we also have some other options here. We do have an image improvement, so you can remove the background and do an HD restoration, which should give it a little bit higher quality. And these do cost credits, but I am using a demo account, so it currently says 0, but just keep that in mind. They will cost credits to do something like that. Once again, we'll talk about credits later, but as you can see, when you fix it, it's going to show you a preview on the side here. Okay, and that will preview. You can see it did remove the background, and it did do a restoration on the image. Just keep in mind, sometimes the restoration I find makes the image look a little odd. Like some of this around the eyes especially, it really seems to mess up the image. So the results may vary with that. I would be careful using that if you don't want that to happen. And I believe you can remove it and try it again, and then just remove the background if you wanted to. So here we go. I turned off the HD restoration, and I think this looks much better. It does not mess up the image like it was before. So that is something that may or may not work for you. I would always preview it first to see what that looks like. Now we got that done. We have some other options for AI optimization. These are some new tools they've added. Once again, the results may vary here. I'm going to leave that off just so it doesn't mess up the image again. And then we have image dimensions. You can either do a basic, smaller image, or for a higher credit fee, you can do a pro size image, which is a little bit larger. And you can also do an 8-bit or 16-bit depth. I'm going to do the higher end and click draw, and that will generate a preview of what this 3D model will look like. Okay, and here we go. This is the bitmap depth. Okay, here is the preview image. It is a height map that it does with a watermark, and you have a couple options here. You can download 3D preview or no watermark preview. You can also click on the image for some more options as well. And if we go to 3D preview, this will open up a new window. It will still have the watermark, but you can see what this looks like and take a look at the detail and quality. And then there's some options for changing the difference. And then there's some options on the side to customize it a bit. There is more customization in here than what Carveco has. So you have thicknesses for minimum and max. You'll have the total width of the image, and then you can invert the image if you want it to be kind of a negative rather than a positive. You can also do a base removal if you want to remove the background. And then you have some thresholds here, some scaling options. You can also make the base shape square or circular, and then also the weight of the detail here you can adjust. So similar to the detail option that was in Carveco. But as you can see, the watermark is still there. So in order to get rid of that watermark, we have to go back to the original and do no watermark 3D preview. This will charge you credits if you have a regular plan, so keep that in mind. The one with the watermark allows you to do the adjustments and preview it without costing any credits. I'm going to confirm this one, and then this one will be the actual model. So there it is here, and we can make any adjustments that we need to here. I'm going to leave it at the standard settings it has here, but you can see not too bad for the amount of detail it has, and overall pretty good. The only thing I'll probably do is remove the base, get rid of the background, and then you can click download STL once you're happy with the preview, and that will save it to your computer as an STL file. And then from there, you can either import it into VCarve, Spire, or even a 3D printer software, whatever you want to use after that. Now, as you can see, the results are pretty decent with this one, and the tools are pretty easy to get started with. That said, it doesn't offer as many customization options or detail control as some of the other tools, especially the next one I'm about to show you. But if you want to try it out, I have a 10% off coupon for your first subscription payment down in the description. It's a great way to test the waters without a big commitment. And finally, let's check out the tool I've had the most success with, and that's called VistaSculpt. This is a downloadable desktop program, and in my opinion, it's the most powerful and customizable AI relief tool currently available for CNC users. What's cool is that this isn't new for us. We've actually been testing and using VistaSculpt for over a year now inside of our Learn Your CNC Academy community. And the results our students have been getting with it, honestly, they speak for themselves. Let me just show you a few projects that have been created using VistaSculpt by all of our community members. So here we are inside of our Learn Your CNC Academy community. This one is a project made by one of our students, Dwight. He makes a lot of great projects using VistaSculpt. You can see this one, he did a 3D model in the center, then he used a spire on the outside to create a decorative edge, and also used a spire to do a nice carving on the side there. Looks really nice. This can be done in a spire or VCarve. And let's take a look at some other projects he's posted. Here's a nice clock that he made with VistaSculpt using a 3D model in there. And then he also posted this one as well. Very similar technique, and this one's with a 3D turtle. And then some more examples I want to show you is another one he made here with some fish in here and a nice decorative edge, and then some really cool results I want to show you. This was done by one of our students, Tony. You could see the real image on the right and the 3D VistaSculpt model on the left. And this one really amazed me on how good the software is. You can even see stickers on their shirts with some text on there. And you can even see that come up in the actual 3D model. And if we open this up, make it a little bit bigger, you can even see the wrinkles in their clothes. The detail in their face is amazing, especially with the glasses. Every software I've ever seen with 3D modeling in real faces, and even professional 3D models that do this for a living, I've never seen it look this good where it looks exactly like the image. I was super impressed on how well this one turned out. And this is in a piece of pine that Tony used as a test. It's just an 8x10" piece of pine that he had laying around in the shop, and look how beautiful that came out. Here's another example from Dwight using a real image. There's the real image on the left, and you can see he used walnut to turn it into this 3D carving. And once again, very realistic in the face. If you knew the person, you would really be able to tell that's them. And I've seen a lot of 3D models of humans that sometimes you can't even tell who it is. I was really impressed with these results. Here's another one that Tony did with VistaSculpt using a real image and a piece of pine to make an example there of how that turns out. So really good quality in the results that it comes up with. You can see the level of detail in the clothing and the face is really good. And then one last example, this is another one from Tony. He had an image that he found online that he liked, which looked like this, and then he uploaded that to VistaSculpt and made this really cool 3D model that he painted, and it looks super realistic and really nice. And the nice thing, it only took him a few minutes to make it because of using this AI powered software. These are real CNC carvings made from AI generated reliefs, some from uploaded images and others from custom prompts. And it's been awesome to see what people are creating with this tool. If you want to be the first to hear about new tools like this and learn how to use them before they hit YouTube, I do weekly live trainings inside of our private community where we cover all of the latest software, workflows, and CNC strategies. You can scan the QR code right here on the screen, or just use the link in the description to check it out and join us. But now let's get back to the software. So like I said, VistaSculpt is a downloadable desktop program. And out of all the tools I've tested, it offers by far the most control and customization, while still being very easy to use. Let me show you how it handles the same wedding photo we used in the other tools so you could see the differences side by side. So inside of VistaSculpt, you are going to upload your image first. So here we're going to click load image, and then we're going to find that image that we've been using. And just like with Carveco, you do not need to compress the image. Once you click open, it'll upload it right away. Then you'll get some options for doing different previews. You can actually preview what the 3D model will look like before you do any settings. So if you want to do that, you can. This will let you do this 10 times a day. And this is just for previewing. You don't really need to do this, so you can skip it if you want. Another thing it has is image restoration. I find this one works much better than the SculptOK one, but the image I have is pretty good already. But if you had a blurry image, this would be nice to use. This costs 2 credits, but if you want to do that, you can. If not, you can close that out. The one thing I really like about VistaSculpt is uploading an image and generating a 3D model does not cost any credits at all. Whereas the other programs we were looking at, they all cost credits. This is one really nice advantage of VistaSculpt is you can do this as many times as you want without using up any credits. And like I said, we'll talk more about that in a minute, but let's take a look at what we can do with this inside of the software. So first off, we have an edit image button. If you click on that, that's going to allow you to do many different things to the image. This is something the other software is lacking on. And one thing I really like about this is you'll see the arm here was cut off. So the image is kind of cropped there and you don't have the rest of the arm there. When you want to create the 3D model, you may want that there. So what I like about this software is there's an expand image button. If you click on that, you have options for top, bottom, left, and right. In this case, I want to expand it to the right. So I'm going to drag that out and you'll see it'll put a red mark there where it's going to expand to. I recommend doing extra just to be safe because this does cost credits. It costs 2 credits to expand the image. So I would recommend doing all the sides you want to together. You can do all 4 sides together if you wanted to, or just one. And always recommend doing a little bit extra just to be safe because you're going to use that credit up anyways, so you might as well do a little extra. You can always cut off more. It's going to cost more credits if you want to add more later. So I'm going to add a little extra there, and then I'm going to click expand, and it's going to let you know it's going to cost 2 credits. And if you want to proceed, click yes. And then this will expand the image and fill in this area here with an AI generated preview of what that will look like. There you go. Now you can see it did it successfully. And look at that. We have a full arm there and it looks super realistic. Even the background was filled in and everything looks like it was the real original picture with the image expanded there. So for me, that is a big pro of having the software where you can expand the image. Now there are some other options hidden here, such as mirror, rotate, perspective, crop, remove background. We already did the expand image. There's an enhance image if you want to make it enhanced to look better. And there's also an AI relief preview. All these will cost some credits. So this is something you would use up credits on. However, if you want to edit the image in a different program and then bring it in, you could do that as well, so you don't use up credits. But I find the credits are really hard to use up. So like I said, we'll talk more about those credits. The only other thing I would do here is click remove background. That does cost 1 credit. Click yes. And I would recommend doing that after expanding the image, because you will have to do it again if you expanded it afterward. So if you did remove background, expand image, and then you'll have to remove background again. Whereas in this case, we do each one once. Expand the image first, remove the background second, and now you can see the full image here with the extended arm there. So this one looks really good now. Once you're happy with your results here, we're gonna click apply, and then we're gonna close this. Now you can see the image is updated in the top corner. And then from here, you're just going to adjust the settings here and click generate 3D model. I typically will just use the default values first and then adjust from there if needed. So all we need to do is click generate 3D model, and now it will start to load. This one takes a little bit longer to load than some of the other ones, but I find that it gives it a much better preview. Also, it depends on how quick your computer is. So if you have a slow computer, this might slow down a little bit, but I definitely find it's worth the wait. All right, this just finished and it took 3 minutes and 9 seconds to generate the 3D model. This is by far slower at processing a 3D model than any of the other software. But like I said, I find it makes the best results possible, and I think it's worth the wait. So here you can see the final result. And like I said, there's still a lot of settings we can change if you don't like the way this looks. And as you can see, the face on this looks perfect. My wife there, that looks exactly like her. So this, for me, is one of the better ones. Now you can see my face there looking a little bit rough, and that's probably how it actually looks, but you can definitely smoothen that out with some of the smoothing filters there, and then generate the model again. Every time you regenerate the model, it will go a little bit quicker than the last time. So it doesn't have to do it all the way from scratch. And there's a lot of extra tools you can use. There's so many things you can do in here. I don't even have time to go through all of them, but VistaSculpt has a lot of videos on their YouTube if you want to check out the different type of tools you can use inside of here. But overall, this is a really good tool that you can now click export 3D model and then save that as an STL file. So you can just save it and then you can import it into VCarve, Aspire, Carveco, any different software that you want to use. And then there's also one that generates a 2D vectors. So if you want to generate 2D vectors to use it for something else, you could do that as well. That's something we're not going to get into this video, but it is an option there if you want it. So like I said, what makes VistaSculpt really stand out is how their credit system works. Unlike the other tools, VistaSculpt doesn't charge you any credits to turn your own image into a 3D model. So if you're uploading your own photo like we just did, that process is completely free. You can do as many times as you want. The credits are only used if you want to generate AI images using their prompt tool, or if you want to use some of their advanced editing tools. But even then, you can always use an external AI image generator and import those images into VistaSculpt without using up any credits at all. So now let's take one step further and test out a feature that all three tools offer, and that's the ability to generate a 3D relief model from just a text prompt. I'm going to use the same prompt in all three tools, pulled directly from my free download, the top 100 AI prompt ideas for CNC, and we'll see how each software interprets it and what kind of models it produces. So we're going to run that prompt through Carveco, SculptOK, and VistaSculpt and take a look at the results. So first up, let's go back to Carveco and we'll use their text to relief tool. We're going to click on that. And in this tool, you can type in any text prompt up to 500 characters. They also have an inspire me button if you need some inspiration. But we're going to be using our AI prompt examples that I have in the description. And I'm just going to paste one of those in here. This one is going to be a robotic eagle flying through a futuristic cityscape. We're going to see what that comes up with. I have never tried this before, so let's see what happens. And for this one, generating an image costs 1 credit. So when we click on that, It's going to cost us 1 credit, and it's going to give you some previews to work with down here. There's also some examples you can see below as well if you need some inspiration. Look at that. It gave us 4 different examples. You can click on each one to see a better example what each one looks like. And these ones actually look pretty cool. Now this one, it gave it an extra wing, looks like there. So this eagle has 3 wings, so that's probably not the one I'm going to use. Oh, I like this one. This one's pretty cool. And that one's pretty cool as well. I think I'm going to use this one. This one to me, I think looks the best. So you can always pick which one you want. If you don't like it, you can generate again to cost more credits. Just keep in mind, the more specific you are in your prompt, the better it could give as a result. And once we're happy with this, we're gonna click generate relief. Now you'll see when I do that, it's gonna cost an additional 5 credits to generate it into a 3D model. So keep that in mind as you're using these tools. It's going to eat up some of those credits as you use these. You can also save the image if you want that as an external image as well. And with any of these tools, you can always use external AI image generators and then bring those images in if you don't want to burn up credits inside of the software. So let's click generate relief and see what it comes up with. Okay, here we go to our preview. And then once again, we can adjust things to our liking. Now, first off, I don't like how tall it made the eagle, and then the background's really short. So I may want to adjust that depth quite a bit. And then also the background detail did not bring in very good. So that one I'm gonna have to try to adjust to get the background better. So this one may take a little bit of playing around with, and I would not use the 0 plane because that's just going to get rid of the background entirely. So as you can see, not too bad, but honestly I wish the background was a little bit better. Even changing the detail doesn't get it quite the way I want it, but overall not too bad. It is pretty cool to be able to go from an image to this model, but I just wish the background could have been a little bit better, and even the eagle detail is not the best, I would say. I don't think when I carve this, it's going to turn out as good as I want it to. So for this, like I said, it's going to be hit and miss. That was Carveco's tool. Now let's go to SculptOK with the same prompt and see what that one does. So back into SculptOK, we're going to go back to the AI tools. This one we're going to use is the AI image generator. In here, we have different styles and different image dimensions. I'm going to do the same square image as the last one. I'm going to do a large quality there, and then I'm going to do no style just so it doesn't influence it any. And I'm going to paste in the exact same prompt as before. Once again, this will cost credits. I'm just using a demo account, so it has 0. But when I click generate, it will now generate that image. Okay, here we go. This is what it generated. And you could also choose the number of images. I only did 1, but I think this one's pretty cool. Once again, you can decide if you want to keep this one or generate another one or more, totally up to you. But if you're happy with this, you can click on it and this will give you some more options. So once again, we'll click generate a 3D model, and this will now turn that image into a 3D model. So we're gonna do just a basic model, and we're gonna do high model precision and click generate. Once again, this will use credits to do that when you have a paid account. Okay, and here is the 3D model that it came up with. As you can see, it does give you a full 3D model, which is definitely unique from the other ones. This isn't so much a relief model as it is a full 3D model. Maybe because I'm not using the right tool. Maybe I'm using the 3D generator. Maybe that's why. Maybe if I save that image, and maybe if I go to the AI depth map instead, and let's try to upload that image, and let's try this again, and I'll use the same settings as before and see what it comes up with. Okay, here we go. This is much better. So let's take a look at this a little bit closer, and we'll go to the no watermark preview, and now this is going to give us a 3D preview of what the results would look like with a 3D relief model, and that looks much better than before. So this one, I would definitely give a higher rating than Carveco's. As you can see, the background detail looks really good, and even the main image there looks really good. And then we still have a lot of options we can adjust if you want to adjust the depth or anything like that. So overall, I think this one looks much better. And like I said, there are other AI tools you can play with inside of this software as well. But now we took a look at SculptOK, let's go back into VistaSculpt and see what we can do with this one. For this one, I'm going to start up a new project, and this one, instead of loading an image, I'm going to click generate image. This is going to bring up their image generator, and like I said, this one will cost credits, whereas uploading an image does not cost credit. So up here for the prompt, I'm going to just paste in the same prompt we've been using for the other tools. You can choose the image size, and you can also see some of your other images that you've generated before as well. So let's click generate. Okay, and here is the image it came up with. Now for me, doesn't look very realistic as the other ones. This one looks pretty plain. However, I find everyone is mixed results. One of the tests I did on this was this bear. The bear was the best one I've done in any of the software. And this was a chef bear flipping pancakes in the forest. That was the best one I've ever seen come from any of the software. The results may vary, because you can see this one I don't like as much. So if we were to stick with this one, we would click apply and keep going with this. But if you don't like it, you can always change the prompt. So we can change this to something else, something like a realistic, or maybe we can say an ultra realistic, and that might make it look a little bit better. So the more exact you are with your prompt, the better these will generally come out as. So if I click generate again, it's going to cost some more credits and it's going to generate another image. There we go. Now you can see this one got much better because we used a better prompt. So as you can see, every tool is going to be a little bit different, and I've tested this multiple times. Some of them work really well first time, some of them you have to play with a little bit. So I recommend, if you're using an external AI tool for generating images, especially you can find some free ones online, I would recommend play around with those first. That way you can generate all your images and then not use up your credits in your software. All depends on what you want to do. But as you can see, this one's looking much better. So if we click apply on this one, and then once again, we can edit this as much as we want, or just go right to generate 3D model. And this will now generate a model based off of the image. And once again, that does not cost any credits. Only generating the image costs the credits. Okay, this one finished generating. This one took about 2.5 minutes. Like I said, definitely longer than other software, but sometimes the results will get better depending on how much you wait for the generation. This one I'm not super impressed with. This is probably one of the worst examples I've seen from VistaSculpt. But like I said, I've tried this many times and I've gotten much better results with this with other image prompts. So this is a brand new prompt I tried. As you can see, mixed results every time. So let's take a look at these all together now. Here is VistaSculpt, and that's what this one come up with. Like I said, there's a lot of editing we can do to this still to make it better. And then from the SculptOK, this is one it came up with. I would say this was probably the better one in this test. I have tested this before though, and I've had better results with VistaSculpt as well. So depends on the prompt. And then let's go back to Carveco. And like I said, this one I was not impressed with as well. And especially the background and level of detail in the bird, I was not super impressed with. But maybe if we had a better prompt on this, maybe this one would work better as well. So everyone's gonna have a little bit difference in how they handle images and how they handle prompts. Now, one thing you can even do is take one of the images that we had in the other software. Let's say, for example, we load the image that was generated with SculptOK and open that into VistaSculpt. We can now generate a 3D model from that one as well. All right, this one loaded up in VistaSculpt, and this one took 3.5 minutes. And here we go. We can do a side-by-side comparison to SculptOK. As you can see, detail's not too bad. The detail in the background looks pretty good, but it looks to me like maybe too much detail in some of the areas there. So this one I would do some more editing to make it look a little bit better. But like I said, there is the detail scale here. You can adjust that. And also it's a little rough in the background, so you may want to put a little more smoothing, and also the depth scale. So for example, how deep the bird is there, we can change that, so you can do a live preview there as well. Keep in mind it may cut out some of the background, so you do have to be careful there. So this will take a little bit longer to kind of play with and generate models. That's one thing I don't like about VistaSculpt, is every time you make a change you have to generate the 3D model again, and it will delete the current one and regenerate a model again. And like I said, once you do it again, it does go much quicker. But in the other software you can see a live preview. So that's one benefit I would say the other software has. All right, this one finished a little bit quicker this time. Like I said, every time you do it, it's gonna be a little bit quicker, and you'll see it drastically changed with the detail scale being different. So just making some minor adjustments on here and then generating the model again is going to definitely change the outcome. I would play with this quite a bit more and try to make this look a little bit better, but you can kind of see how this process works. There is a lot of customization, which is nice, but just don't have the live preview, which I think could be better. All right, and then lastly, let's go back to Carveco. I'm gonna take that same image, I just uploaded it to Carveco, and it's gonna cost me another 5 credits, but I'm gonna generate a relief from that same image. Try to give it a side-by-side comparison of all 3 software with the same exact image. So you can see Carveco generated it pretty quickly, and once again, we could do a live preview, which is nice. So I would do something like that probably, and then we can adjust the level of detail. This is the only thing I find in Carveco is a little bit challenging, is some of that detail is either too much or not enough. So that's what I see has the most trouble with Carveco. But other than that, I like the ability to live preview. That definitely makes it much quicker. And I think you can get a better result with this if you play with it some more. Just like with all the software, the more you get the hang of it and see what works good and what doesn't, you can really adjust how this is gonna look. So let's take a look. This is Carveco. Let's take a look at SculptOK. So far, I think SculptOK would probably win in this category for this particular image. I think that one looks the best in my opinion as far as carvability. And then lastly, we have VistaSculpt. Like I said, this one you could still adjust quite a bit more. And once again, I've run this test multiple times, and every time I get a little bit different results. In previous tests, I had VistaSculpt work out better, and then this time happened to be SculptOK works better. So it's never gonna be exactly the way you want it to, but as you can see, even with the same prompt, the output quality, detail, and style can vary quite a bit between platforms. If you want to try these prompts out for yourself, I've included the top 100 prompt ideas, download in the description, along with my ultimate AI guide for CNC projects, to help you learn how to make the most with these tools, no matter which one you choose. All right, now that we've gone through each tool, let's go back to the 3D models I showed you earlier and reveal which ones came from which AI software. So here they are again, all 3 side by side. And looking at these now, you may be able to better guess which one came from which, but I'll do a close-up preview of each one first. You can see what each one looks like. And now that you've seen what each one looks like, these are all unedited directly from the software, and we just imported them into Vectric. Let's see which ones was which. You can see SculptOK on the left, VistaSculpt in the middle, and Carveco AI on the right. So each one is going to be a little bit different. I find with human images, the SculptOK, you can see does not look as good in the faces especially. So that would be not the one I would go to for doing human faces. And I find VistaSculpt did the best in my opinion. You can see the face looks much better, and you can compare it side by side to the image here. And the only thing I see, it looks like an indent on my face there, but if you have Aspire or Carveco, you can use a smoothing brush in the sculpting tools to kind of smoothen that out. You can also play with the settings inside of the software to smoothen that out as well. But overall, I think that looks pretty good. And also the quality of, you can even see the veins in the fingers and all kinds of details in the clothes as well. And then the Carveco AI, once again, the faces are not as good as I'd want them to be. So that's something I would be cautious of as well. I find Carveco and SculptOK struggle a little bit with human faces, but I think VistaSculpt really shines in that area, especially as you could see from the results some of my students have been getting as well with VistaSculpt. So hopefully these help you see the differences more clearly now. Let's quickly recap with some pros, cons, and pricing info for each tool. The AI tools use credit systems we'll talk about more in a minute. So the Carveco AI tool, some of the pros is it's built directly into the software. It's fast and beginner friendly, and it gives you access to Carveco's full design and toolpath tools. Some of the cons is it requires a monthly subscription, just like some of the other tools, but if you're using it as your main software, like you are with VCarve or Aspire, you may not want to switch over to that. And another thing is it's really limited on credits unless you pay for higher tiers. I find the lower tiers has really limited credit system that you can use. And then of course it requires you to switch from your current CAD CAM software if you're coming from Vectric. And for me personally, that would be a deal breaker for me. I would not want to switch over from Vectric just for those AI tools. I would just use one of the other tools that are available. And then as far as pricing, the image generation costs 1 credit. The 3D model generation costs 5 credits. And then some of their pricing plans is they have a maker plan, which is $17.50 per month. And that includes just 10 credits per month, which is really low in my opinion. And then their Maker Plus plan costs $50 a month and includes 100 credits per month. And then the Carveco Pro is $250 per month and includes 300 credits per month. If you're interested in trying out Carveco's AI tool, I have a 5% off coupon in the description to save you a bit if you want to test it out. Now let's move on to SculptOK. Some of the pros is it's web-based, so you don't need to do any installation and you can use it on any computer. The results are pretty quick and it's affordable entry pricing, and it also gives you some access to other AI tools. Some of the cons is the control is a little bit more limited compared to VistaSculpt with the amount of customizations you can do. It does require internet connection to access the web app. And as far as their pricing, the 3D model generation costs 10 credits for each model. The basic plan is $19 a month and includes 400 credits per month. The premium plan is $75 a month and includes unlimited credits and 3D generation. I have a 10% off coupon for your first subscription payment linked down below in the description if you want to give that one a try. Now on to VistaSculpt. The pros on this one, I would say it's the most advanced features and customization options. It's the best overall model quality from our tests, and there's no credits required to turn your own image into a 3D model. And all of that with still being very easy to use. Some of the cons for VistaSculpt, I would say, is it's a desktop software that can only be used on one computer, but it is transferable if you need to. Some users said that the support can be a little slow, especially during the summer, because they are an Italian company that takes a month off sometimes. So personally, I never had any issues with the support, but that's something to keep in mind. And another con I would say is they don't have the live preview option just yet, but maybe in the future they'll add that in there. For their pricing, it is in euros because they're an Italian company, but to translate that into USD prices, their hobby plan is around $35 a month, and that one gives you 30 daily 3D generations and no AI image generation. Their pro plan is around $152 per 3 months, or about $410 per year. And that one gives you unlimited 3D generations from your imported images, and it gives you 200 monthly credits included. The AI image generation costs 2 credits. Advanced editing is around 1 to 3 credits each. But honestly, it's really hard to use up all the 200 credits unless you're really pushing it. Even my students say it's really hard for them to use up those credits. The nice thing about this software is we have a 15% off coupon that applies to every payment, not just the first one. So that's really beneficial as well. I have that coupon linked down below in the description if you want to check that out. And if you're not familiar with the AI credit system, here's how that works. Basically, the credits are like tokens you use to generate your images or models. Each action, like uploading a photo, generating a model, or using the built-in AI image generator, cost a certain number of credits. Most platforms give you a monthly allotment, and then you can buy more credits if you run out. And then some tools, like we said, like VistaSculpt, do not charge credits for uploading your own image and generating 3D model, which is a big plus if you're doing a lot of projects. Now, with all this talk about AI, I want to make one thing really clear. I don't use AI tools for everything. I mostly use AI when I want to quickly create a 3D model from images, or when I'm making something organic like humans, animals, or nature scenes, or just messing around with some fun prompts for inspiration. But when I need precision, like creating a part that fits with exact dimensions or modeling something functional like a guitar, I'm still going to go straight into Aspire for that. That level of control and accuracy is just not possible with AI yet. AI can interpret images, but it can't measure. And to be honest, sometimes I just want to be the one doing the modeling. Aspire lets me be creative and design from scratch, and that's a big part of why I love using it. But you don't have to pick one or the other. You can use them together, and I think that's where the magic really happens. One of our community members, Dwight, that I showed you earlier, he does this beautifully. He creates AI-generated 3D models in VistaSculpt, and then he brings them into Aspire to add custom textures, accents, and decorative frames. So you can absolutely blend AI speed with Aspire precision, and that's a workflow I see more people using going forward. If you want to try any of the tools I showed you today, all the links, discount codes, and free downloads are in the description. Make sure you grab your ultimate AI guide for CNC projects and the top 100 prompt ideas for CNC to help you get started fast. If this was helpful, make sure you like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.